Hello again. Welcome back to Chunky Time. I haven't posted in a while. I've just been busy with other projects. And last video I posted, if you remember, I was working on the Retrocomputing Workbench over here. And I had mentioned in that video that I had a few other projects that I was working on. I actually completed some of them, but I didn't film them at the time. I'm not sure why I didn't. Anyway, I'm going to show you a couple of them now. So, first thing was I wanted to build a power cart, a cart for all the power tools that I had. Specifically the chop saw there, but then I was really looking for something to house all the other power tools that kind of had its own portable power source, so a power strip that I could plug in, but then it was on casters so I could move it around anywhere I needed to do cuts if I needed to, or if I had to work on another part of the basically away from the workbench, to do drilling or cutting or whatever. So yeah, I just built a small cart on casters there and mounted the chop saw to the top of it and mounted a power strip to the side of it, and it's been working out great. So I can move that around as I need to. The next thing I had to do was find a place for all of the spare lumber that I had laying around that I plan on using on some projects now, but kind of needed to get it out of the way. And I was watching videos on YouTube, and one particular video, the person suggested that if you have a lot of scrap wood, that you build basically shelving that allows you to store that scrap wood up above and out of the way, but in a way that you can kind of see all of it. So you can see I built basically a frame here that sits on the workbench. And again, I don't know if I'm going to keep this up permanently, but for now, until I burn through all of this excess scrap wood, it's working well to keep things out of the way. So like down here, I've got on the lower shelf all the the dimensional lumber, so like 1x and 2x scrap pieces that I'll use for things that I'm going to build. And then up top here, all the plywood sections from old projects that have disassembled that I just haven't gotten around to using yet. But again, I'm going to use a lot of it in projects that are coming up, and trim pieces up here over on the side. And then you see, I kind of had to build a support, a couple support legs here to be able to handle all of the weight of that scrap wood sitting on that top shelf. So again, once that scrap wood is done, I've kind of burned through all that excess, and I don't have a need to support so much weight. I may take this middle post here out just because it's kind of right in the middle of the work area. But the cool thing is I was able to use a couple extra under cabinet lights that I had laying around to add a little more illumination to different parts of the workbench, which is kind of cool. Kind of moving over here, this thing you can see I've got, well, let me get back here a little bit so you can see it. So this was a little shelf, like a six or seven shelf bookcase that I had built specifically to house mass market paperbacks that now I don't need to use anymore because I have a new bookshelf for them. And so what I was able to do is kind of repurpose this into just a software storage bookcase, basically here. So software and then old audio CDs. So the software is like mostly on CDs and DVDs, but then you can see I've even got old 3.5-inch floppies and things like that. And even down there, some 5 1/4-inch floppies. Again, these are old machines here. This is going to be for retro computing. So again, I think that's going to work well to store, all of that software. So once I get this done, it'll all be very readily accessible for the machines that I'll be using it on. And then kind of on the back side of this, you can see that that's some plywood there that my wife and I had upholstered with some nice red fabric, and those were the backs of some display cases that we had that we once we had the offices built, we no longer had space for them, so we took them apart, and it turns out that red fabric backing, actually there were two pieces of it, and when we put it together, it was just the right size. It was basically 4 foot by 2 foot sections. I had two of them to create a nice backing for this storage cabinet, for what's the software storage cabinet now, which is kind of makes a nice side to divider, I guess you'd say, between what's going to be the retrocomputing area and the workbench, the woodworking workbench over here. So anyway, kind of moving over to the retrocomputing workbench area, you can see I've got just kind of some old Macintoshes right now, which are the ones that I'm going to get set up. What I'm planning to do ultimately is, again, over here, there's only one monitor, keyboard and monitor, that's going to be for that Mac Mini there, but this other monitor is going to go away, and then this TV back here was just an extra one that we had when we upgraded one to a larger size. I may try to put that up on the wall, attach that to the wall, or set it up on a shelf, I'm not sure. But what I'm finding is that these other machines, they're so large, meaning that they've got such depth in their footprint that there's not a whole lot of space for like the keyboards and mice. So one thing I'm going to do here for both of these benches, well, definitely for this one over here and possibly for the one on the left as well, is to build kind of a shelf in back so that the CPU cases basically, so at the bottom of the iMac, and you can see this old Macintosh Performa's got a huge footprint basically for its CPU and its optical drive and its old floppy drive and hard drive, and then the monitor itself is also pretty deep. So I'm going to build a shelf that can sit up on, and the shelf will be tall enough that the keyboard and mice can slide underneath it. The keyboards and mice can slide underneath it. Same for the Mac Plus over here too. So hopefully that'll create a little bit more surface area, make it a little bit easier to use the keyboard and mice without being so cramped. So that's kind of an addition that's got to get built there. And again, over on this side, I may build a shelf, I may not. And then I'm gonna, once everything's all built and I've got the support pieces in there that I talked about last time, I'm gonna paint everything, and then this side should be ready to go for the retro computing. And then I will move on to some other woodworking projects. So that'll be what the other woodworking projects will be for future videos, but finishing up these retrocomputing workbenches, this is what I'm going to be working on now. So that should be the rest of this video. And I'm going to stop for now, and when I resume, I'll be working on the finishing up the retrocomputing workbench. Thanks for watching. saw that. Fifth leg installed. Okay, so now what we've got here is a little bit of a gap. Because of this extra bracing piece, there's a little bit of a gap between here, this leg, its distance to the back support piece, which means it's off by the thickness of this cross bracing piece, which is, you know what, 3/4 of an inch, an inch. So what I'm going to do is, as I build that transverse brace, I just need to have a little bit of a shim of the same thickness here at that point, so that it can connect as if it was flush. That, just some spare piece, that'll be more than sufficient to function as that shim. Okay. So, this piece is pretty bowed, but I'm not worried about it. It'll bend back into place once I get everything attached with screws. So I think I'll do is cut the side pieces first. So I'll use this one first to make the two side pieces. So let's now, actually let's attach the other side first. We want it to be at 10 inches off the ground. Take a little break. This one is as twisted and warped as a ski jump, but since it's only transverse bracing on the back, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just do the best I can to try to attach it back into place, and hopefully it'll kind of bend into shape. Alright, so last thing is that angle brace, which will come from here down to here. And I'm probably just going to use a something small, probably a piece of 1x. This one's kind of split, so I'll probably see if I can harvest the majority of it that's not split, and then the rest will become scrap. Okay, so think I'm going to do is cut this at a 45 this way. And then probably cut this straight and attach it this way. Okay, so let's see if I can show you this a little better here. Okay, so I've got now all the transverse bracing is on. You can see that. And then here I've got that angled brace coming from that fifth leg that I put on up to the front of the table. So that should provide the support that's needed to handle the additional weight, especially in the middle of the table, without interfering with my legs as I'm sitting there moving back and forth between the different workstations. Okay, so next thing is I'm going to flip that over and then work on the shelf system, which needs to go on that. It's going to be about, I think, 18 inches deep and about 6 inches off the top, so that I can fit those workstation CPUs and bases on the top shelf and save room for the keyboards and mice.